Greg, I think you're muted.
No way! What a start! Let's go! All right. We put all this work into
the best welcome back we've ever had. Nobody's heard it.
Nothing fixes stupid. Well, I'm not gonna lie, that was the best intro I've ever done. I would say, Heath Ledger's performance in The Joker. It was fantastic. But let's dispense with all of that. We got a big show here. We're going to recap the Spey Bay Ryder Cup, which was just an absolutely fantastic time. We're going to preview the Walker Cup, which is going to be amazing. We're going to discuss Ryder Cup picks. Spoiler alert, I was right on all of them. We're going to talk a little about the return of Punchbowl, Undertaker rising from the grave. We're back with Punchbowl, our course rating app, and excited to talk about it. Gentlemen, how are we feeling?
Feeling good, man. Still a little bit of jet lag, hanging on from the weekend. I don't know how you guys are doing, but other than that, back in the saddle. Well, that and I guess our hurt feelings from getting thumped by Team Europe again this year. But barring those two things, feeling great today. It's a Friday episode. Weather's beautiful here. I don't know about there. The heat's broken a little bit, so feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
How about you, Coop?
I'm feeling all right. I thought it was jet lag. Turns out I've got a little bit of the head cold post, trip and meeting everybody, but it's the price we pay, right, for such an awesome event and getting to hang out and high five everybody for all the great shots and all of the better shots made by our European opponents. But it was a good week. Happy to be here with you guys. Happy Friday. Hey, in terms of the Ryder Cup, nobody spat on each other, so we do have that going for us. There were no ejections, right? We have to check the replay very closely to see, who spat on who first. But that didn't happen in our Ryder Cup event, so that's what I'm mostly happy about today.
Yeah,
friendly.
I love this is like the who shot first, Han or Greedo of our time. It's just one of those times you love being on Twitter. I watching the game and just like immediately seeing all the takes on that was great. But NFL is back, baby. So that is a very exciting time. Well, let's jump in here, Chris. Why don't you get us started talking about Gemini?
Yes, of course. As everyone knows, this podcast is brought to you by the Gemini credit card, the only instant crypto rewards credit card on the market, and hands down one of the best credit cards if you love golf, because we are still getting 10% back on golf course purchases. It's running through the end of this month. So we've only got 25 more days of the 10% back on golf. I'm sure there'll be some more good stuff coming in the future as well. But this summer we've had a great run with the Gemini credit card. You get instant crypto rewards back. You can earn them in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or 50 other cryptocurrencies. And you get up to 4% back on a whole variety of spend categories. You get 1% back on everything, 2% back on groceries, 3% on dining, 4% on transportation, and 10% on golf course purchases, which, of course, as you now know by this point, includes any spend on Spey Bay or Link's signature events. Any spend on Hillcrest memberships, on Spey Bay memberships. You can be stacking your crypto earnings while you're getting in some good golf. So this has been a great deal. We've had running all summer and is still live. If you want to take advantage of it, go to Gemini.com/Linksdao. It's LINKSDAO, and you can see all the details there. Guys, I actually hit my limit last month. So I was not earning any more 10%, but it resets today. So I'm back in the saddle. I'm back earning. I don't know about you guys, or if you guys have been racking up the golf rewards.
Yeah, it's funny because I also hit the what is it, $200 welcome bonus. I saw that notification show up, which is good. I did not reach my limit, but I'd love to play some golf this weekend. So I'm looking to do that. I'm seeking to do that.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the limit, but I did get the bonus reward. I have been hitting the 10% back on golf spend limit for sure. Paying for my friends' greens fees and, having them Venmo me. It's a
Yeah.
good hack there to get some spend back.
Restocking on balls at Spey Bay when you put some in the gorse, get 10% back.
Absolutely. That was really good. Cool part is it worked in Europe, which I was not expecting, but yep, swiped over there, tapped, and yeah, good card. It grows my portfolio.
Love that. I've actually, I think I said this on a previous episode, but I have really liked the fact that you basically like de facto DCA, like dollar cost average into anything, right? You kind of don't have to worry about it. It just happens, shows up in your account, which is very cool. And it's instant. Like it literally, like you spend and then you look at your app and it's there, which is kind of wild. But it's been great. Gemini has been a great partner and we're excited to keep this rolling. So if you're interested in signing up for the card, getting that $200 sign up bonus and getting 10% back on golf through the end of the month, go to gemini.com/linksdow, check out all the details, and you can always ping us with any questions. I've been loving it so far. But without further ado, I think we have some other announcements. Coop, you got anything else for us before we get rolling?
Yeah, it's a big week. We had the Spey Bay Ryder Cup event, which was really cool. If you haven't seen it yet, we had the 100-hole hike on the summer solstice, which was our prior event there. That's available on our YouTube channel if you're watching this on another platform. Head over there, like, subscribe, watch our prior content. We've got the reversible routing. You can see the beautiful golf course behind me here. It's my background today. The 100-hole hike video, lots of other stuff coming on our YouTube. And we have a Ryder Cup video coming soon. So get ready for that. I know we're all really excited for that. Greg's going to be jamming on the 1s and 2s, getting that edited. And if you were there and you have any footage you want to share or anything like that, make sure to send it over because we'd love to include everybody's stuff in the video. We also have some signature event spots still open at Arbor Links coming up here almost next week.
Yes, next weekend. Yeah. So I should even mention we've got our KC event. So for folks that joined Hillcrest, we're going to be visiting next weekend, which is really exciting. But then right on the tail of that, we've got the Arbor Links signature event, Tarmy Network course, where we had a late cancellation. So it's obviously short notice, but if anyone wants to jump on that, we do have an extra spot that people can grab for next week. It's going to be an awesome time. 2 days, staying overnight in cottages, the full deal.
It's awesome. Awesome stuff. That's going to be a great time there in the Midwest. We love to see it. And then we've got Tree Farm coming up in the Southeast in Aiken. A lot of hype around this golf course. Little appetizer for your Thanksgiving there in November. So check that out. Get down there. Get to a Links event. Can't recommend it highly enough. And if you're watching this from New York, New Jersey, or Tennessee, we have our community member-hosted events. We've got Paramount coming up, Battle for the Hudson, New Jersey, New York style Ryder Cup event. That's coming up this month. And then we've got Sweetens Cove as well. So head out there, play some golf in the Hollers, Tennessee, hang out with the boys. It's going to be a great time there at Sweetens Cove. And then for those of you who have collected some Links coins, some Links token, we are going to do a drawing for our Links millionaires in the Discord today, immediately following this podcast. So pop in the Discord, verify with your wallet, and get rewarded for collecting your golf coins. That's all I got.
Awesome. Yeah, and if you're thinking about going to Sweetens, or you've been on the fence, there's only 3 spots left. So, and I was talking to someone in Discord yesterday that's thinking about getting those. So if you want to check out Sweetens and you've always missed the lottery, check it out. It's a great time. So yeah, let's talk about Spey Bay Ryder Cup. Obviously, the last couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about the lead up to it. All of our preparation, all of our plans, all of our strategy. As the great Mike Tyson once said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, and we got absolutely punched in the face. So I think there's 2 parts here. One is obviously we'll talk about the event because regardless of outcome, the event is just spectacular. This was my first time going, and by all accounts, it's one of the best golf events I've ever been to. And so as you start to think about your plans for next year, I don't know exactly when the event schedule, Chris, will be released, but it should be on your radar. It's just a fantastic event, which we'll talk about. But let's start with the actual outcome. So I will say the only sort of silver lining is the point total was closer than it was last year, even though more points were available. There were some off-course points, which we'll talk about, but we still lost by a lot. We got boat raced pretty much every direction, despite our best intentions of trying to go out there and get the cup back for America, which we did not do. But let's just sort of, why don't one of you take the just explanation of what the event was, just kind of from beginning to end, you know, from opening ceremony throughout the actual golf play to the closing ceremony. Let's talk about what happened first, and then we can share some memories kind of as we go.
Sure. I can give you the itinerary. We got in on Thursday, had some welcome events, some drinks at the clubhouse, and then we went over to Gordon Castle for Highland Games, which are traditional Scottish games like tossing a log on a rope, rolling a whiskey barrel through some posts. One that Greg particularly excelled at was throwing wellies, rubber boots into a basket, hay toss, and then culminated in
I'm like a +2 at that game.
Oh, I mean, one of the best we've ever seen. Really great. And then a tug of war between the US and European teams. So that was a really great event. Shout out to Gordon Castle there in the area, always being great hosts for us. Back to the Ryder Cup points available off the course for those competitions. Then on Friday, we kicked it off with the 4-ball play. So 2 US players against 2 European players going out in foursomes. We had a big 20v20 event this year, so lots of foursomes going out, playing the course. We did better than expected on the first 2 of those. Points weren't crazy. Friday morning, they hoisted the American flag in front of the clubhouse. So whoever was the points leader had the flag out in front of the clubhouse. And then by the end of that second day, which included some pub games, darts, billiards, putting contest on the new Himalaya putting green, which if you've been following along was something the community voted on. Really cool first opportunity to see that in play. And a couple of pub games which we'd never seen before, perhaps were just made up by the Europeans specifically to mess with us at this point. We did not keep the lead at the end of Friday, and that kind of set the tone for Saturday and Sunday, where the Europeans just kind of took off. They kept going in the alt shot and then the singles matches. We had a couple of glimmers of hope there, but by the singles on Sunday, we would have needed to have won 16 of the 20 matches to tie. So kind of fell a little bit behind on the course and couldn't catch back up. But closing ceremonies were great. Lots of really good food at the clubhouse. Bert cooked up like 100 steaks, solo in some drizzling rain. It was a really, really great time. We can get into the memories, but that was generally the format. Some on-course action, some off-course action. Really, really good stuff. Did I miss anything there that you guys, really enjoyed? Monday, you guys had to go play Old Petty, not part of the Ryder Cup, but good setup for everybody.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is we had this year. So last year we just played, 1 round a day. This year we did edge a little closer towards like the traditional Ryder Cup format. So we did the double session on Saturday, which was a big day, but a lot of fun. Everybody, we didn't do it as the usual Ryder Cup does and that people are picked or whatever. Everybody played both sessions. So everybody got 4-ball in the morning, foursomes in the afternoon, which was a ton of fun. It was a big day, but also a lot of points on the board and everything. So after that, it was still mathematically possible, that the matches could have broke the US's way on Sunday to flip the script, but obviously didn't pull it out. But yeah, big itinerary across 3.5 days. That's for sure. I think we were all spent afterwards, although some of us went to play again on Monday, but that's how it
Hell yeah, we did. I think it's a great example of why Spey Bay is really special, right? As an international member, you show up and you just already know everyone. You're just hanging with Dode and Roddy and Trevor and like Trish and like you know all of these people from previous years and you know them from the chats and they become your best friends for 3 to 4 days, and you get to play a lot of golf. I mean, I sort of really forgot how to play links golf really until sort of Saturday afternoon, maybe Sunday morning, and how different it is, especially with how baked out everything was, the dry summer they've had. I think on Thursday I just walked out and was just kind of firing 2 irons on 18, and my 2 iron rolled out to like 270, and I hit like a handful. I just dropped some balls, was hitting approach shots just to try to get a sense. Tried to fire a 58 that bounced into the back bunker. Try to leave it 10 yards short. That rolled into the back bunker, 20 yards short, back bunker, 30 yards short, back bunker. And just to see things. And if you've never played a links course, it's just a good example of the surprise and delight. And I think that factors into one of the major disadvantages, obviously, we have in the Ryder Cup is we don't play like that. I think you can look around, you see different people hitting approach shots, and they're just bounding off I think about 6 a lot. I hit it maybe 10 feet from the pin, and it kicked right 20 yards into that creek, and just, that's just luck. Like, that happens. But I think my favorite memory is on the 8 hole into like a, I don't know, 5 club wind. I hit a 5-iron and birdied the hole. I don't know if anyone birdied that day. So that was a pretty special moment for me.
That was epic.
Yeah, that was really fun. So but I'll also hand up just accountability wise. Saturday, I played the worst golf I've played in a year and a half, 2 years. Maybe I just kind of forgot to play, how to play golf. I really let my teammate down. Over the course of the weekend, I went 0-2-1, which is just not the showing we were looking for. Had a chance. I played okay on Sunday. Chris, you can disagree with me because you were there. I played okay. I played well enough to win, but just couldn't close it. There was a really back-breaking putt that my opponent made that just sort of broke me. And after that, I ended up losing on the 16th green. And then we, win. And of course I birdied 18 on my last play there. But it's every time I go back, I fall in love with a different piece of it. It's such a great property. It's such a great view. And most importantly, the people. I mean, I think with this event, when you go on a buddy's trip, obviously you spend a lot of time with the people you're on the trip with, but it's just cool to show up on Thursday, say hello to everyone. The team does such a good job getting the course ready, such a great job making sure that just the event is world-class. The food is great. Every second of it is fun, and you get to play a ton of golf. So I as a member, I can't speak highly enough of this event. But as being a part of Links, I'm just really proud to see just the development of these events because they've become such a really special thing.
Yeah, it is. Every time we go, one of the things that always kind of knocks me off my feet is that people coming in from everywhere, mm-hmm. But it's still part of the same community. But it's we've got people from West Coast, Midwest, East Coast in the U.S., a group coming up from London, a group, coming from Germany, obviously a bunch of Scots living locally, but, people converging from far and wide to the same place and doing again and kind of that shared experience, like you said, Greg, is pretty damn awesome and hard to replicate. So that's always a highlight for sure. I will say I was proud of how the U.S. team fought, it is totally true. It's a different game. We're kind of at a disadvantage going in, right? Because you got to learn a different style. We don't play that every day. Obviously, the Scots that are local to the course do play that every day, and I think it was put to the extreme this year, right? With just how dry the course has been. It was playing as firm and fast as probably you will ever see it, and so made for some super interesting, and fun shots. But also meant that it was just even further from kind of the style of play that we're used to in the US. But, I was proud of how we fought through it. We still won some points. We kept it, within the realm of the possible going into Sunday. Everyone I think was playing, really gunning for getting as many points as we could and made for a fun time. And, we'll have to see what adjustments we make for next year to get it back in or get it close at least. But regardless, it was a totally a fun time. I know a bunch of folks, they were there at Spey Bay for the first time for the US team, and that's always fun to see and kind of getting to experience the course and the event for the first time and everything. So always fun to see that as well.
Yeah, we still, despite having Olympians on the team, couldn't pull off the win. But definitely a a fun time. Our, hosts, the Europeans, just always the best. We come out there and of course it's competitive, but the camaraderie and good times that we have in the clubhouse on the course, it's just so great. So yeah, if you're thinking about Spey Bay, if you're thinking about making a Scotland trip, and you want to center it on something specifically, and you're not trying to do an ultra marathon on the solstice, the Ryder Cup is that. So think about it, make the plan, get over there, and play some of the other awesome courses in the area as well. Lots to do with that, but yeah, it's just a great event, and I think one of the best traditions that we've established here at Lynx. Getting together, playing with different people, having a good time, right? It's just I really do think it's the best non-professional event in golf, in the world of golf.
It's really good. A couple other memories. One is, as you mentioned before, we all got to putt on the Himalaya for the first time. That's been closed even to local members just to make sure the grass was perfect. Man, that's fun. That is so much fun. My biggest memory of it is on our first putt. We were going against Trish and Roddy, and Trish decided we were on one side, the course side, which is much flatter, and then it sort of resolves into this crazy undulating fun house on the other side. And Trish picked the furthest putt that we all had to putt to, and then there was like an aggregate scoring. Doesn't really matter how it worked, but we're all like, all right,
probably like 100-foot putt, right?
Sure, yeah,
Maybe
100.
Yeah.
Let's call it 100 feet. I think that's more than fair. And Roddy steps up there first, and we're like, anyone's going to be lucky. Just it's hard to explain in the Masters sense. Like TV doesn't do it justice. How undulating this is, and Roddy hits it to a foot. I don't know, Chris. I mean, am I over exaggerating? I mean, he took the perfect line. It rolled probably up and down 4 or 5 different hills and just nestled. I don't think any of the rest of us got within 15 feet.
Yeah, and I think it was literally the first putt that's been putt on the green, other than like Bert and the Greenskeepers or whatever. Like the first putt, 100-foot putt, across all these crazy undulations, puts it to a foot. Pretty epic there. Yeah,
I will say, footnote, we won that match. So despite him opening, that's like him,
for the record,
eagling of the first hole and then getting beat the rest of the time. But that was really fun, and that's something I wish I would have spent a lot more time doing. Outside of that, I didn't really spend much time in the Himalaya, but I can see, parking the Osprey's Nest up there, having some tunes going, getting some lights out there. It was funny to watch the caddy. It was also the introduction of the caddy program at Spey, right? That was the first time that sort of was up and running. And so it was funny. They had a competition after everything wrapped on the putting green, and there are kids out there like aim pointing. They're like marking like, 1.5 putts. No one's giving anybody anything. So like the competition of the future generation is pretty strong as well, I think. Any other, memories, takeaways? Obviously, I know I saw Depressive Hacks talk about like what has to be true for us to win one of these. We can talk about that now, unless it's too raw, need some more time to reflect. But any other takeaways from the event, either the event itself, the competition, or any other memories that you want to share?
Dude, your shot on 8 was definitely a memory into a 5-club, 6-club wind. That was crazy.
It was 134 to the pin, and I shot a 215 shot.
Yeah.
And it landed, I don't know what it was, 8 feet,
6 feet or something.
6 feet. And I made the putt. So
yeah, that was epic on a really hard hole to begin with, in crazy wind. And for the record, I stepped up right after that, flayed one way right, covered one way left. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I could shoot that 100 times and that would happen once, but it felt good that it happened once.
Anytime you can hold that green is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it's the only time I've ever parred it, let alone birdied it. I also just, again, for accountability, I stepped up when the adrenaline was pretty high on the 9th hole, and I topped my 2-iron into the gorse on the left. Not the gorse, the whatever that is, fescue on the left, and ended up doubling 9. So it all comes out in the wash.
It sure does. The course will do that to you, 100%. It's a good walk. Memory for me, hit a pretty huge putt on 16 to go ahead in my singles match against Johnny. To close that out, that was really, really fun. Just getting to play with a couple of different people Shout out to Jack and Mark getting out there. Alt shot. I'd never played alt shot before.
So much fun.
Yeah,
that was a really interesting way to play. So Big Mark and I were out there ham and egging it, which was really fun. And yeah, having to think about where your partner wants to be and communicating like that and pace of play. It's got kind of a fast round, right? Which is cool out there. So really enjoyed doing some traditional Ryder Cup style stuff like that out on the course.
Yeah. I would love to play. I mean, I play a little bit of alt shot, especially in the sim. It's just easy to set up and it's faster. I would love to play more alt shot. It's such a fun format. It's not for everybody, and again, I played like dog shit, but it's still fun, even when you're doing that, because on one hand, you feel the pressure of not wanting to let your teammate down, but on the other end, you get bailed out if you make a bad shot. So it's just really fun to see. One is, get to see the course in sort of a different area as you would, because maybe your partner has a stronger game or a weaker game in some areas. But yeah, I love alt shot. I'm glad we did it this year. I know it's hard to do net. I think it was pretty fair the way that they did it. I was going in, I was like asking myself, how are they going to do that? And I don't have any questions about that. I think that felt fair.
Yeah. No, I thought it ended up pretty well. And, I do like it kind of forces the team aspect more, right? Like when you're doing alt shot, like you can play best ball with someone and so you're kind of playing your own games, but really forces you to play as a team, which is cool. Just another cool aspect of it. And, Nick and I played well and it was kind of fun, like strategizing and kind of playing to each other's game as well. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. I'd say my only other takeaway is I don't know if I'll ever hit driver out there ever again. Like, get a driving iron.
Greg's never hitting another driver in Scotland for the rest of his life.
Yeah. I mean, I hit like maybe too good at Old Petty, which we'll talk about, but everything else was absolutely abysmal. I have the driver yips right now, but it's such an advantage to hit like a low, stingy, low spin rollout shot out there. And it was really fun to just like fire driving iron off most of the tees, and still like really one is the only one where you're at a massive disadvantage, because I don't think I had anything less than a 6 iron into a pretty tough green all week. Because it's a longer hole, but everything else, like a driving iron, IO2 driving iron, it's better in the wind. It's better when you're stressed. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it for everybody.
I could have used that advice. There were a couple of matches where we fell very far behind on the front nine when I was using my driver, and I kind of put it away and used 5 wood off the tee in the back and just battled back, and we won from that reason. So less than driver works out there, especially when you hit the ball the way we do, Greg.
Yeah. I think the only other takeaway I have that's interesting playing against the Europeans is when I give strokes on US courses, the biggest problems typically occur within 100 yards. Like most people get off the tee okay, maybe they hit it shorter, but they're like in play, let's say, maybe there's a disaster off the tee, but if they're in, but then things get really squirrely in approach shots or wedge shots or in the sand or putting. There was never a time where if I wasn't like 2 strokes ahead getting into 100 yards, that I was like, I'm losing this hole for sure. Because just like bunting it up, knowing exactly where to miss and not miss, and then the putting was just on fire all weekend for every European that I played against. That was another piece that I'm taking next year, just filing that away as a strategy of just like keeping the ball on the ground a lot more, which sounds obvious, but it's hard to do because you get there and you're like, I don't know, man, like I think I can hit my 58 to like pretty close, and instead just trusting. Like Chris, you and I were out there on 18 hitting some like bump and ruds up to that green from like 40, 50 yards away. And it's definitely the play, right? You can nestle it in a lot closer.
Yeah. Shout out to Trish, who sunk 100-yard putt in our group, like literally 80 yards from the front of the green, took out the putter on 11 there and sunk it. So
Trish is a problem.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. She's tough.
Trish is a problem. All right. The only other thing I'll say, it was also the first time I played some of the new holes, which were also really great. It's a completely different front stretch. I think that was like the biggest complaint from people, is like that stretch 1 through 5, let's say. It's completely different now. You have some like really fun off the tee holes. You have like completely different looks at greens. I think 4, the par 3, is so much better now. It's just like a short little par 3, but in the wind it plays really hard. And so that whole stretch where you're just waiting to get through that middle gorse sort of ridge, get to the Osprey's Nest, and that's the first time you sort of see the ocean emerge, which is such a great moment, like on the flow of that round. Much improved. So that's my only other takeaway. It's the first time I'd played those new holes, and they're really, really good.
Yeah, they were fun. And then 17, 18 too, with kind of the way the wind was most of the time we were there, kind of both of those playing almost drivable, or if not drivable. And there was a new, I think for the first time it was open back tee on 17 too, a little further back. Playing those was a fun time as well.
For sure. All right. Well, let's touch on then on as was stated earlier, a handful of us, I think there were 12 of us, were able to go over to what's now called Cabot Highlands. Cabot Highlands has had Castle Stewart for a while. I think both of you have played that course. But as you can see from the coup on my tour visor here, they've now opened up for preview play, and I think August, September, and then they're going to close down and get it ready for opening full next year. It's always fun to play preview rounds. We did it at Cabot Citrus, I think a year or two ago. One, there's just a delight of playing a golf course that not a lot of other people have played. But being able to go out there and play like a very different feeling course, from what I understand, Castle Stewart is. The first stretch kind of felt a little Parklandy. I've actually never played a Parkland course in Scotland, so it's a little bit nice of a change of pace. And then it's sort of like as you get more towards the bay, things open up quite a bit. Wind becomes more of a factor. It's a Tom Doak course. If you've played a Tom Doak course before, it sort of has all the hits, the risk reward, the choices you have to make off the tee, make some things look a little bit harder than they actually are to scare you. But I think it was a really fun time. Obviously, things are still growing in. It's not fully mature yet. As you can see here on 18, almost drove the green and then hit a wedge really close, which felt really good to kind of end the trip there. But Chris, what were your impressions of Old Petty? Anything you want to talk about there?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, you can kind of see the similarities to some other Doak courses. I haven't played a ton, but think of like Streams on Blue, or even just that kind of style, right? Perhaps some similarities to like the Cabot Citrus or whatnot. But it was a ton of fun. Yeah, cool to see a new course and kind of a new environment. I've played Castle Stewart, the original course there, and it's kind of similar but different to the Doak course. And so I think they'll have a really great 2-course lineup there, starting next year, I guess, full on. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. And it was, it's funny. It's like we went from like the most extreme kind of linksy situation, then going to this, it almost feels like it's not even links golf. But I think I was thinking about that because we were talking while we were playing. I think that's maybe a little harsh. I think we were just coming from like the rawest version of like completely baked out and super firm and fast, and tight with course golf, to this, that it just made it feel, it was like a smack in the face. We were kind of reverting to something different. But I do, there's tons of fun, like undulation. They got some of the pod bunkers or, kind of features like that. And, but plays a little different. And so it's kind of cool to get that variety, obviously a little more modern in build, and great, you can see like great views, great scenery while you're playing. So it was a ton of fun. Really cool that, a bunch of our members got to go check it out prior to the official opening, which is always kind of a fun little sneak peek. Did you notice, Greg, they write the number player that you are to play the course on the back of your scorecard? It was like, whatever it was, 1246 or something. So that was a neat little wrinkle. But yeah, ton of fun. Nice way to cap off the trip with a fun little round before heading home.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I understand the spirit of what you're saying. I don't think it's entirely unfair though, but I will say as a positive is that I think this would be a good first course to play on a trip over there, because you can play it sort of two ways. I think you and I probably played it much more similarly to how we play US courses. One is because I think we probably wanted to play that game just to get the taste out of our mouth from like
back. Yeah.
But you can absolutely play it as a links course. Whereas like most of the courses that we love over there, you have to play linksy, right? You have to keep the ball low. You have to be really smart about where you're leaving shots. You have to be open to the fact that balls are going to bounce in unpredictable ways. So I think it'd be a good like front end of the trip as a way to like ease yourself into it. Obviously, there being two courses there is really good. Really great halfway house situation. It's like this really old building that you walk into, and there's just someone there serving sausage rolls with cookies and obviously all the drinks you'd want. You also get a view of Castle Stewart from multiple different directions. You sort of see it probably on half the property. So that's a pretty cool touch point. I am very worried that on 3, someone is going to break pretty much every window in that. So I hope they've invested in shatterproof glass because I could see
Castle.
Yeah, I could see someone blading a couple balls into those windows. But yeah, it's like it had a nice flow to it, right? Like you're going out, like you're kind of hidden from the elements a little bit, and you see some trees, and then once you kind of make a turn around, let's call it 5, like you really kind of then feel like you're out in Links land. So I think they did a really good job. The utmost confidence in Cabot that it's going to be a world-class destination that people are going to enjoy, and definitely looking forward to going back again.
Yeah, it's also been fun. So our agronomist that we use at Spey Bay, Chris Haspel, he's also working with him. He's been on point for all of the growing and everything at Old Petty. So we've been hearing, bits here and there about, what's going on and how things are looking and everything else. So it's been cool to follow along there as well and see it all come together, right? And kind of the full picture come together. It's pretty cool.
For sure. And they got a great logo, as evidenced by my hat. So let's talk a little bit about the Lamestream Ryder Cup. We've done a lot on this, and obviously we have some stuff coming up. But the real Ryder Cup is done. There happens to be another Ryder Cup coming up that people seem to want to talk about. I don't know what's up with that, but producers have said we need to talk about it. So the actual picks happened after production last week. So we now know exactly who was on the team. And I will say, despite the fact that I got boat raced by both of you in the FedEx Cup playoffs, go back and check the tape. I was 100% correct on the captain picks. We have JT Morikawa, Sam Burns, Patrick Cantlay, Ben Griffin, and Cam Young. Love those picks. Love the fact that Keegan didn't pick himself. I think he had a really good answer for why he didn't when asked in the press conference. I also think, like, despite the awkwardness of the Zoom call, which has been much mocked by our European brethren, I think it was cool just to be able to like tune into YouTube, see the whole thing. Yeah, I wish it was a little bit faster, but I think really the nuggets in Keegan's press conference left me pretty excited about his the way that he's approaching it and the way that he was able to justify his picks. So any surprises there for either of you? What do you think about the picks from the US side?
I'm surprised that Keegan didn't pick himself. Like, I don't know if I was just, off the reservation, but I thought there was a 90% chance he was going to pick himself. And so I was like in the realm of, okay, he's going to do that. And then, so who are the other 5? How's he going to justify it? What's the story going to be? Whatever else. But I totally agree with you that his rationale, his justification for why he didn't pick himself and everything was like kind of the perfect play, I think. Kind of inspire the guys that, hey, like, I'm not going to put myself on the team. You guys are playing better. Like, let's go win it together. Like, I think he played it really, really well, and probably is the optimal outcome for the US. I was bracing myself for like the opposite, right? Of just more drama and, people talking about it, whatever else. But now it's kind of a non-story, right? Like, unless maybe whatever the last guy on goes 0-4-0, and then there's talk of should Keegan have picked himself, but I don't think that's that likely, anyways. So yeah, otherwise though, not too much to be surprised about. I obviously didn't pick. My predictions were not full on correct, but I think it's a solid team on the US side. I think the Europeans that, they have some kind of easy captain's picks. Like they're going to skip over John Rahm. I mean, come on. But I don't know. It's lining up for a good competition, which is the biggest thing. Got big names. I think it's going to be some good matches at a good venue. So starting to get psyched for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he made the right call, not picking himself. I don't know if I would have made the same call the way he's been playing, right?
Yeah.
He said the decision was made up, weeks ago or long before. He's like didn't lose any sleep over it the night before, which I thought was an interesting thing to say. Maybe true, maybe not. But I hope that it's the right pick, and I'm really happy with this team, right? I think that this is the best possible outcome for Team USA. Regardless of what happened behind the scenes with him, picking himself or not. One thing I did think was kind of interesting. We have ball selections. I kind of have it shared up here on the screen. Bryson DeChambeau not using a ping pong ball. Just important to note that he has been practicing a lot with the ping pong ball, but will not be using it in the Ryder Cup. For those of you who follow his various challenges, we were talking about alt shot earlier. Which teammate do you want to play with based on this ball selection? Do you think like Ben Griffin has to be on an island because of his max fly choice? Like, how does this kind of play out for you guys?
It's crazy how much. I mean, I heard an anecdote at some point where I think it was Ludwig, and he's like, I don't know, the ball doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna go out and hit it and whatever. And he was carrying his driver like 30 yards shorter when he was using other balls that weren't his ball. And as CF says in the comment, like not just the model, but like the year can be different. Like there's all these factors that go into the golf ball that
Cam Young plays like the triple dot,
Yep.
Pro V1X triple dot left, whatever, like, non-production. Yeah. There's definitely some nuance in there for sure.
Yeah. So I think it does matter quite a bit, at least based on what I've seen. I don't have any stats in front of me on it. It's a wrinkle. Like, who would I want my partner to be? I mean, I guess the question is how much does the impact, like the gear effect on that ball have comparatively to who's the better partner for me? Like if I'm playing alt shot with someone who's like a terrible partner, I'm sure that there's like pretty diminished returns from the impact the ball has, if vice versa, right? So I would be very curious, and I guess like this is an unanswerable question right now, but like, will there be any impact on ball based on those choices? And like, do they have the data to say, that it might be marginal compared to what the data is saying about who the better matchups are, right?
Yeah, I would think, and just from watching some of the videos of like, Tyler has the video of like Hovland testing out the different ball types and looking at the launch monitor numbers and all that stuff. And like, first of all, it's amazing to watch that. And then, they can kind of like know their numbers right off the bat. They can play, kind of play it differently based on it. But I would think that having different ball types, like these guys are good enough that they can adjust based off of it. And the bigger thing would be having the right partner fit specifically for alt shot. And, playing with Russell Henley is way different than playing with Bryson. I would think that'd be a bigger impact than ball. But, who knows? I mean, the flip side of that would be, okay, these guys are so finely tuned and they optimize every little thing that, going to a completely different brand of ball is going to throw them off. So,
right.
I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how the pairings line up to these charts.
Yep. For sure. Anything else on Ryder Cup? Because I do want to touch on Walker Cup preview, which I'm chuffed about. So anything else on Ryder Cup? I'm sure we'll talk a lot about it over the next couple of weeks and lead in.
No, let's keep rolling. My only thought is us playing foursomes was good lead in for both the Ryder Cup and the Walker Cup, which I didn't actually realize, but I guess they play all foursomes when they're doing group play and not singles, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a slightly different format. I mean, if you haven't watched a Walker Cup, this is the year for you. They're playing at consensusly one of the best golf courses in the entire world based on any list you could ever look at. There's obviously some disagreements of where it shows up. It's also one of the most exclusive clubs in the world, while also having tons of really great things like allowing for unaccompanied guests to play in the mornings, and they've kept prices down. Like, it's not a snooty club, but it's a very exclusive club. And it's, some would argue it's the best reflection of American golf. Obviously there could be a bunch of debate around that, but we're playing at one of our best courses in Cypress Point. So Walker Cup, I mean, first thing I'll say is what's cool about the Walker Cup as a amateur event, even though obviously over time amateur has meant very different things, right? It used to be that the best players were amateurs because they had the most money, and they could think of Bobby Jones. He never went professional, and professionals were seen as terrible at golf or worse or whatever. Then all of that flipped, and then all of that changed, and then you think of amateur, you think about us because we're amateur golfers. But obviously now it's like this is really just like the grounds for future PGA and DP World star, and I guess live stars, right? These are mostly 23-year-old world-class golfers, with the exception of both. One of my favorite parts is both teams have to have a mid-am, which is awesome because it's just like that becomes the old guy on both teams. But a little bit about Cypress Point. I mean, again, they play at the best clubs. Pine Valley is on the list 15 years from now. But this year they played at the old course last year. They played at Seminole. They're playing at Oakmont coming up. They're playing at La Hinch, I think, is the next European one. It's a murderer's row of the best golf courses in the world. So for my argument would be, if you like golf courses, watch the Walker Cup because they play at great golf courses that you don't get to see on TV that often. Cypress Point, obviously most of you have heard of it. Alistair McKenzie designed at Augusta, Paso Tiempo, Royal Adelaide, Melbourne, La Hinch. Just one of the best golf designers of all time, opened in 29, number one ranked golf course in the world at top 100 golf courses, number 3 in America based on Golf Digest. So it's always going to show up in the top 5. It is a pretty exclusive club, but there's no driving range there. So I've heard they're going to actually have to warm up over at MPCC because that's the closest place for them to warm up. It's basically just like a warm up area and a net. Some of the most famous holes, 15 through 17 stretch, there's sort of 3 acts to Cypress Point, right? You have the stuff that's kind of more in a forest in the first third, then you go out and you play these amazing dunes for the second, and then you emerge out to the ocean and you play back to the clubhouse. One of the cool things too, as the USGA, who I just want to give flowers to the USGA. I think they continue to do a really, really good job covering these events, whether it be the US Open, the USAM, or this Walker Cup. They're allowed a bunch of YouTubers to get out there on media day and play golf. So if you look at Barstool played there, which was a wild ride to watch them playing Cypress Point. But Fried Egg did a really good video out there last night. No Laying Up released a video of Randy playing it. So there's no shortage of just I haven't seen a lot of video of Cypress Point, right? You see pictures of the famous holes, but to be on the ground and see how big those dunes are and to see how the greens work, and then now be able to watch 2 days of TV on it is a really, really cool thing. As far as the Walker Cup itself, US has won 8 of the last 10. It's kind of a reverse Spey Bay situation here. They have absolutely dominated. The only 2 that GB&I have won is 2011 and 2015. One other note is it's not all the Europeans that play against the US in the Walker Cup. Unlike the Ryder Cup, it's only Great Britain and Ireland. It's the way the Ryder Cup used to be, but they made that change, I guess, because of Sebi. But yeah, I mean, this weekend's going to be great. We'll link the schedule in the show notes. There's opening ceremony. I think Golf Channel is carrying later today. Good thing about this is there's prime time, right? Which sucks because the NFL season is starting on one hand because the Bills play Sunday night when the Walker Cup is ending. But you're going to have a little bit of morning, afternoon golf. You're going to have some evening golf because it's on the West Coast. So check out the schedule. Most of it's going to be on Peacock and Golf Channel. And if they do anywhere near as good a job as they did for the USAM with the drones and all the shots, they really invested in the production value, and it's going to be amazing. But yeah, so that's I know I just went on and on, but I'm very excited about this tournament, and I want as many people to watch it as possible. Not that it needs my help marketing it. But what's y'all's history with the Walker Cup? Did you watch it, at St. Andrews last time? Have you watched these before? What are you excited about? Tell me where your heads are at with the Walker Cup coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it at St. Andrews 2 years ago, although not a ton. And then, candidly, not. I don't know that I watched any prior to that. It just kind of wasn't on my radar. But it is a great setup, and particularly for this year, like at Cypress Point, we're going to get a full on, you know, uh, production all weekend long to be able to see this amazing course and some great players playing on it. And I think a nice bonus of it is, it's a small thing, right? There aren't grandstands covering up all the beauty on 15 and 16 and 17. It's just you're seeing the course. There's going to be, you know, whatever, a few hundred people walking around, attendees, but you get to be up close with the players, and you get to see like the full on beauty of the course, which is great on this specific year. So I think that's going to be a ton of fun. And I'm hoping they'll give us some good kind of backstory on the players and some of the interactions. I did really enjoy No Laying Up put out a video on the U.S. Ryder Cup team from 2 years ago, and just seeing some of the backstory and all these like basically college kids or high school into college kids coming together and competing and forming a team around it was very cool to see. So I'm hoping we get some of that on the broadcast. And there's a lot of interesting wrinkles, right? Some people that are been friends forever growing up, some that are rivals. You got Stu Hagestad being the old guy in the room, for the 15th year or whatever it is. And so I think there's a lot of cool stories in there. So I hope some of that pops out, but it should be a really awesome watch. We'll conflict a little bit with football, both college and NFL, but be a good thing to flip back and forth on this weekend for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I want to double click on the point you made about there aren't a lot of grandstands out there, which just allows the course to breathe so much more, which is special, right? Like Oakmont looks so different on TV than it actually looks because there are a ton of infrastructure there. There's not a lot of infrastructure here. Coop, what were you going to say?
Just that I hadn't engaged a whole lot with the Walker Cup prior, but I'm really excited now. I'm kind of going back and learning more about the history and watching some of the stuff, and seeing some of the pros now as they were playing. The top 25 guys as they were playing in their Walker Cup matches. It seems like a really great event, and the lineups of these courses are spectacular. So, looking forward to watching this weekend.
For sure. And just to kind of go down the team, 7 of the top 10 players in WAGR are on the U.S. team. The U.S. team is absolutely stacked. It has the USAM winner. It has everybody. And it's on paper, this team should absolutely rout the Europeans. So it'll be interesting to see. I think some storylines on the GB&I team. Luke Poulter, Ian Poulter's son, is on the GB&I team. It's gonna be fun to watch to see how much of his dad's competition match play a magic he inherited. Also Neal Shields Donegan, who was burst onto the scene during the USAM. He's a Scot, but grew up in Northern California. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's probably harder to get a ticket to this one. I mean, it was funny, like when they announced this one, I was like, I'm definitely going to go, because traditionally to get to a Walker Cup, no one wants to go, and they're cheaper tickets. Obviously at Cypress Point, that's going to be a little bit different. So I hope he gets some people out like he did for the USAM. He had a huge contingent of locals out there for him last time. But yeah, on paper, the U.S. should trounce them. But this GB&I team is not, it's not nothing, right? Like they have some players, and obviously, there's a good deal of familiarity with Cypress Point and sort of the public consciousness. So we'll see what their plan is. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I'll be rooting for the U.S. team, and hopefully, we can keep the cup. Hasn't looked good for the GB&I team recently, but it'll be fun to. And to your point, Chris, I hope there's a lot more on the broadcast, because like it is hard sometimes to watch these events when you know nothing about the players other than maybe their biggest accolade, like winning a USAM or whatever. So hopefully they do some good background. But I am right now extremely bullish on the USGA and NBC's ability to cover these amateur events. They've done a really good job, and I see no reason why that'll change.
For sure. Yeah, USAM was great. So this is a nice follow on to that, and leading into the Ryder Cup. We've got a good slate for post FedEx Cup golf this year. Pretty fun.
Yes, sir. Great. Well, one just like quick update. We did announce this yesterday, but Punchbowl has been updated. It's back from the dead. For those of you, like, not to get too much in like how the sausage is made, but it's in test flight right now because we're still, really just sort of iterating. This is meant to be like a fun side project for members to be able to keep track of their favorite courses in the world. And so it's if you haven't downloaded it yet, if you haven't played with it, you can go to punchbowl.golf. You can join the test flight. No need for an invitation there other than with the link on the website. You can download it and you can start just picking which courses you played, and then you match them up sort of in a head-to-head matchup. It creates a score and then it lists those out. So it's been a really fun way to keep track of it. Honestly, while we had to every 90 days the test flight links expire, and we went in there to like quickly make an update and found that we needed to make a bunch of updates to some dependencies and packages and stuff. So then Scotland happened. It took us a little longer than we wanted to get it back up and running, but I missed it because I'd played some golf courses since the last time it was available. It was removed even from my phone, and so to be able to get it back is fun. So if you haven't checked it out in a while, go back and check. I'm sure you've played some golf courses since the last time you've rated. Would love to see the world ratings update. We have sort of an aggregated world rating there, but you can also share your own courses. I find it really useful just to kind of remember where I've played and remember what I thought about places. You can go back and you can re-rank courses. So give that a try. It'll be in your test flight. If you don't have test flight, you can download it. You can join from punchbowl.golf. And share your lists on Twitter. It's definitely a way for you to be able to tell other people where you played and what you think about places. It's always good debate. The whole project started after a round where people were debating which courses they played, and it was like, there isn't a great way to share that. So now you have it. It's Punchbowl, and you can download it today.
Could not be more clear whose list was up there that Coop was scanning through from looking through it.
I'm sure if Sweetens was number one,
sure was.
Though we have two changes to the top 10. Both Prairie Dunes and Lookout Mountain made it to my top 10 this year. So
yeah, I've got some catching up to do. I'm going to have to do that tonight. Go through the memory bank.
You got it all figured out what you're doing on this Friday evening. All right, well, let's wrap it up here. That's it. Thank you for joining this extra special Friday post Ryder Cup edition of the Links Golf Club Live podcast. We really appreciate you tuning in. Remember, check out Hillcrest memberships. Like I said, we should have some new content coming out on that coming up with the event. Also, tons of content that has already come out and will be coming out about Spey Bay. So if you're interested in joining either of those golf courses, you can visit links.golf to learn more about both of those. Check out the Instagram and the YouTube to get notified of all of those updates as they happen. Drone photography, on the course stuff, storylines. There's just so much that we're trying to get out there on both of these golf courses and about the Links Golf membership. So check out both those places. Hit us up in Discord if you have ideas, hot takes, feedback, and you can follow the pod, leave a review, turn on those notifications on YouTube so you will know exactly when we go live. And other than that, we will see you next time. Appreciate it, everybody.
See y'all.